Well, we got her going. I'm kind of tickled about that. Cowboy Jim up here in Fort McMurray, and just had a shower, so I don't want to get the inside of my hat too wet. Outside's all right in the rain, but anyways, I left it off. So I just wanted to say good morning to you. I finished my 7 nights and took a couple of days off, and then did 3 more nights. And yesterday and today, well, I've slept so far about 24 hours, and going back to work tomorrow, and looking forward to it, actually. 7 days, novel idea to be able to see where you're going in an easy manner, and I'll probably, I'll either go visit my grandsons and the last night of work, along about 5 in the morning, supervisor came on the radio and said, "Jim, are you going to work an extra night?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm probably the only great-granddad working in the mine. And I think 3 extra shifts of overtime, that's enough." And I'm pretty sure that that's a pretty factual statement. I hope so. And but that man who is my supervisor, I won't say his name, but if you worked on my crew, you'd know who it was. He asked me a question. He said, "Jim," well, he's asked me several questions over the year that I've worked for Negad Tuckaroo, and I respect him. I honor him, actually. It's not hard. He asked me one time, he says, "Can you tell me why some older people are owly?" Downright rude, actually. Ignorant. And I said, "Yeah." Well, he said, "Well, why? Why are people like that?" I said, "Because it's a choice they made. They make that choice to be grouchy, to be known as contentious. But it's their choice, and they walk in it." He said, "Can you tell me why you're not?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know the answer to that." I said, "I choose to be polite. I choose to be kind. It's not a natural thing, but it's a choice I make. Because if I'm not, how can I ever point anyone to the saving grace of Jesus Christ if I don't live what I say?" I'm reminded of I've never said this on a video, but I'm inclined to do it today. I'm reminded of a young man. He'd be about 28 years of age, and he is a former preacher, and he worked running a hoe for a couple of days, at the end of which I said, "Sir, would you allow me the privilege and the honor of giving you a couple of hints as to how to run your hoe in a more efficient manner?" He said, yes, you can tell me anything." Well, I did. And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, he was so angry with me. And then he made my day. he said, look at you. Look how old you are. And all you're doing is running a truck. I thought, whoa, that hurt. See, I run everything and anything. I just don't always get much of an opportunity to run anything. So I run a haul truck in the mine because it's better than being a greeter at Walmart. Okay? I've said in one of my videos some time ago, you are making memories for someone. And you are. You are. On the bus the other night, subject matter sometimes rolls around to personal stuff, and a lady sitting across the aisle, we're all talking, and she said, Jim, you're nice, actually. And I said, you know, it's not for lack of trying. Being nice, being kind, being considerate, it's a choice that you make, that I make. And I never have heard of winning people over with ignorance nor arrogance. Pomposity is a word I'd like to use. I haven't used that one. It's a derivative of being pompous. I don't think I ever used that in my life, but I could be wrong. But I find it's easier to talk to people about the Creator if you're half decently nice and not arrogant, not rude, crude, lewd. I could go on a long time. I have a good handle on the Webster's Dictionary. But nonetheless, I think it's our job. I'll sit back here and not hide half my beard. I believe it's our job to be nice, to be kind, to be considerate. And I take a shot at it. I really do. I mean, I really do. My supervisor, just the other night, my truck was a bit low on fuel, almost out. And so he came over to where I was waiting for the fuel truck, and we sat and we talked for a while. He's a man, I wished I could use his name, but I can't, I won't. But I admire and respect him so much because he's teachable, okay? He's kind, he's considerate. I mean, I'm impressed. He said, Jim, have you always been the way you are? And I knew what he was talking about. I said, yes, I've gotten better at it over the years, but I started out trying to emulate my mom and her kindness, her love, her work ethic, her attitude, her behavior. And she worked hard at trying to make her behavior to emulate, replicate God's love. You see, people don't understand God is love. So how in the world can you act like you never heard his name and yet refer to yourself as a Christian? I mean, I don't refer to myself as a Christian because that word, title, Christian, has gone through the quagmire of life, and people claim that position and place in God, and you wouldn't know that they had a belief system if you watched how they lived. So I just call myself a man who chooses to believe in a creator. The other night at work, I was sent over to another part of the mine. I had to follow my one super, and I went to work for what I thought was the head company there. And he, when we got to where we were going, he kind of called me down from the truck, and I went over and spoke with him. And there were two other guys in the cab of the truck, and this gentleman, he had spoken to me before. I remember waving at him. I remember him. And guy on the far side of the truck, he said, "Cowboy Jim." I said, "Yes, sir." And I thought, I wonder, is he watching my YouTube stuff, or perhaps I'm just getting to be known as Cowboy Jim, which is, either way, it's good. And so we talked, and I always try to introduce myself by telling them the story of my son's miracle. That's Big Scott. And when Big Scott was 18, he has knocked off an overhead catwalk. You've heard me say this 42 times, I'm sure. Fell 18, 20 feet onto his head, broke his neck, crushed his skull. Neurosurgeon and the surgeon in Owls, they didn't hold much hope for Scott. They actually didn't hold any hope for him. And so they didn't even bother putting intravenous in. And they sent him back to the hospital in Owls, I think, to die. And the next morning, my son woke up from his coma, got out of bed, walked in, used the washroom, and got dressed. He is headed out for breakfast. He is hungry. And that's my God. And so I take the opportunity every chance I get to tell people, hey, I'm not religious by any stretch. I actually try not to be contentious too. But I chose to believe in God when the only entity, there were two of them when I was a kid. One was my mom and one was God, and they loved me. I believe in both of them, and I still do. So I really can't tell how long I've expended on this. Oh, that's not bad. But I've been trying not to run my videos over too long, but I've also been trying to speak from the heart. I tend to slouch a little. Well, not intentionally, but it's... anyways, I try to get close enough to the screen, and then I'm too close. You may not have had the miracles in your life that God has allowed me the privilege and the honor to walk in, whether it's Big Scott coming out of his coma because God perfectly, totally healed him. He just got out of bed and he left the hospital a day after, 20 hours actually after he fell, healed. Or my lost son, my 7-year-old son, Big Joe. He was not big back then, and he had gotten lost in the mountains, and I'd tracked him down, and I only tracked him down because God led me. If you haven't had that type of miracle in your life, you're normal, okay? I'm not normal, somewhat shall we say abnormal, because I believe that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. I walk in that. I believe that. I believe that you have a responsibility to be nice to people. And Don't know what that is on the phone because I can't read without my reading glasses. Anyways, I hope you have a good day. I hope God is blessing you. I hope you have a relationship with God that will carry you through into eternity. It's your choice, and it is just your choice. It's not some behavioral thing that you do when you go to church on Sunday if you go. I have been to church about 8 times in the last 18 years. So, hey, I've nothing against church. I just, I guess my church is within my heart, and it's where I am, and it's the people who, they hope, they won't admit it, but all they hope is that someone would just show them once what truly being a Christian is all about, behaviorally and all those things. You see, people want hope. They don't want devastation. They want hope, but they've seen so much religion. It's pathetic. Because there's a church in Calgary, Center Street Church. One of the preachers that I met, he asked me to sit right at the very front of the church, and he said, "Jim, you martial arts?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Would you be willing to take a bullet for the preacher?" Well, I said, "Sure, might as well, can't dance." And so I sat there listening intently. That was a good church. But waiting, because the preacher did his job, and as such, he had death threats every week, and I don't threaten anyone over anything. It's not worth it. I sometimes will explain the potential consequences of their behavior if they don't change their ways, but that's all. But that preacher that got me to sit at the front of the church all the time I was there, he said, "You know anyone who needs financial help, can't make the rent, whatever?" He said, "We have plenty of money, and we help people out." And I thought, that's a novel idea. Churches are more, seemingly, they don't do that nowadays. I'd go to that church down there in Calgary. It's called Center Street Church. It was a good place to watch people live out their relationship with God in deed, in actual deed. And that's what you and I are to be doing. And I take a shot at it, I fail miserably. But hey, lady said, "Jim, you're nice, kind of nice." I said, "It's not for lack of trying. It's a choice. I try to be nice, and I fail, but I take a shot at it." I hope this has some continuity to it. I hope you might well be entertained with the videos that the Lord leads me to do, and the ones that I end up doing myself. There's a difference. You can tell a video that's truly blessed by God or one that has too much I mixed into it, and don't like that word at all. So God bless you. Hey, you're going to live till you die. Only you can determine where you spend eternity. It's not by good works or pretending that you're something that you're not. It's by simply saying, "God, forgive me. I accept that Jesus Christ is your Son. I am so sorry for having lived the way that I have. Help me to be what you want me to be." Hey, use your own words, eh? Because if it's not from your heart, then it's just words. But if it's from your heart, your eternity will be changed. I hope one day to hang out by the front door of heaven, like my friend over in Perth, Australia, said he is going to do, so he could give me a hug. And I hope I get to meet some people that I may have encouraged or influenced or built up or something in this life through this medium, or through working my buns off at work and honoring God, not only with the word of my mouth, but with the work of my hands. I met a Christian one time, claimed to be a Christian. He said one of the jobs he really liked when he worked at a grocery store down Okotoks country was he would volunteer to clean the washroom. I said, I clean toilets in our campground. I don't even like cleaning my own toilet. Oh, he said, you don't understand. He said, I'd just go and I'd lock the door and put the sign on the door, it's being cleaned. He said, then he would lay down on the floor and sleep for half an hour. And I thought, you put forth the idea that you're a Christian and you're looking for the easiest way out, the laziest thing that you could do or be. Well, you're missing the mark, eh? I marked that man. I watched that boy. He worked for me. I kept him on for about a year. He wasn't worth his hire, eh? I mean, you walk out of the room, he'd be working real hard. He worked real hard when people watched. But you never did know if he were going to be sleeping on the floor when you walked back in. And I want you to know, that's not the way God wants you to behave. You claim to be a Christian, good, but you live it. You show it. You honor God with the word of your mouth and the work of your hands. And your hard attitude, it better be kind to those who stand round about. They're hoping that you will be what you claim to be. Okay, God bless. I probably went over. God bless you, okay? And y'all take care now. Thank you.